Welcome to the live stream, everybody. As always, I'm going to take a look at several different Bitcoin charts, different time frames, what different indicators are saying, and that sort of thing. And then eventually just getting into more my scalping strategies, which obviously they can work on longer time frames as well. It's just easiest for me to show you them on the 1 minute. So I've been enjoying doing that at the end of the stream. So we're going to do that, go into a bit of a position I took a few hours ago, as well as one I just took. I let everybody know here just at the start before I got started here. So basically a few things that I'm looking at is on the 4 hour here, you guys. I do have mixed signals right now. There's a few things to watch for right now. I mean, we did have this nice breakout of this bullish wedge here, but we really haven't been getting too much follow through. I mean, we just got shut down at resistance once again. Even if I remove my own resistance box, I mean, I'm just kind of mapping out the highs of this range from back here. And I mean, we've been just testing that resistance again a little bit throughout the sideways trade range here. But even if I remove my own resistance, the MDX Algo 3 is just showing a ton of resistance above us, you guys. I mean, all these red boxes are automatically mapped out. That's our supply zones. So, I mean, either way, Bitcoin has a lot of work to do if it does want to see some upward price action here soon. And that being said, speaking of the algos, one of my favorite strategies is watching which way these W's are trending. One good thing that we did have going for us was we did finally set a higher low on the 4 hour here with these W's, the reversal warnings. But this was just a bit of a potential warning because we never had the tops lining up with it yet. When I use this strategy, I like to have the W's basically going the same direction generally. So, I mean, way up here where we topped out, we set a lower high. From there, you can see that we actually set another lower high, lower high, lower high. So the top W's here have just been trending downwards all the way since back basically the start of July, or the middle of July at least. And since that same time, this is the first time that we've actually seen a higher low. So, I mean, not all hope is lost yet because we still have a little ways to go down below before we kind of cancel out that little bit of a trend, right? I mean, like I said, we still have lower highs showing up here. So if we get some kind of a bounce and actually break up a little bit higher, and then we see, another W, we get rejected again, but this one is just a little bit higher, and then we come back down and retest some support and see another higher W, that's where I would start to get very bullish on the trend, because those signals and which way they trend can be such a powerful confluence in this market. So that's something that will absolutely have me quite bullish on this market. And you guys know, generally speaking, I do favor the bullish side quite a bit more than the bearish. But that being said, like, I'm in a short today. I'm not scared to take those either if I see a proper opportunity that I'm confident in. So, as it stands right now, I mean, the trend is kind of undecided. We're still setting lower highs, but we also have this little bit of a warning of a higher low. So just something to watch for now. The daily, I'm not sure if we ended up, the daily is still trending up as far as W's as well. On the top, obviously from back here up to there, up a little higher and even higher yet. So I would love to see another higher W come in on the bottom as well. I mean, we did have this little, we did have that, again, just an early warning sign, right? We had the W's changing direction, but they weren't lining up with each other. The tops were still setting higher highs. So, I mean, this was just a little bit of an early warning, if anything. But it never did get that reversal. So, the W's are still trending to the upside as far as I'm seeing. I do want to be cautious because this looks an awful lot like a rising wedge, and I've seen a couple people talk about it now. I know earlier people were more looking at this as an ascending triangle with kind of more of a flat top, something like that. But I mean, if you do count the fake outs that we had to the upside, that really looks like a rising wedge, which is generally a bearish pattern. Doesn't always have to be. That's always something to consider. Just because there's a rising wedge, it doesn't need to mean that it's bearish. Crypto actually has a tendency to, you see them break to the upside a lot more in crypto than traditional markets. And I don't know if that's just generally people get hyped up on crypto so that you see it slowly creeping up a little bit higher, and eventually that just excitement takes over or whatever. I don't know if it's because we're a bunch of degenerates or what, but that does seem to be a thing quite often. So not necessarily bearish at this point. But definitely worth keeping an eye on this. I always like a third touch point of a trend line before considering a breakout. So even as it stands right now, if we just broke right through this, I'm not so sure that I would think that I'm considering this a valid rising wedge yet. Just because I would rather see it get a third touch point and then break down below, get a retest, just kind of confirming that this is actually an important trend line. Because right now I just connected 2 dots, don't have a third touch point yet, not considering it valid yet. It's just on my radar. So really, even if we were to get a bounce here, I mean, like not here, on this support line, I mean, this is just something to watch if we do keep selling off here. I mean, we do have this potential top signal, that little blue triangle there on the Algo 3. That is saying that it thinks this is a top. We had this supply zone form here, so there's obviously resistance on the daily as well. A lot of resistance, I mean, up here as well as where we just got rejected from. So definitely worth considering that. But, you know, I don't think we're just going to dump right back down to all-time or the cycle lows or anything like that. I really do expect at some point that we get a third touch point along this upward sloping trend line. So we're going to have to see what happens there. If we get some kind of a failed break along this, where the shorter time frame, you see a 1 minute or a 5 minute candle wick just below this trend line and still close above, I will be looking to long it heavily. And in fact, I'm going to add an alert to go every single minute. I don't care if I'm sleeping, it's the middle of the night, whatever. If we do touch that line, I really want to see how it's reacted with. So I want to have an alert on that trend line right now. Just in case, you know what, this is a daily looking resistance here. I mean, we could see a harsh sell-off coming up. And by harsh, I just mean how it'll feel, because volatility has been so low recently. That, you know, if we did get this kind of a drop, that would feel like quite a volatile move. So something to watch for there if we do dump to the downside. But like I said, 4 hours definitely undecided for me. We do have this demand zone on the 4 hours. So yes, even though we do have a lot of resistance forming, we also technically have this support forming. So like I said, it's a little bit mixed signals on the 4 hour in my opinion. As far as wedges go, since that's kind of the theme today, something I would like to see is, again, just finding a third touch point on some kind of a pattern like this. Let's make it yellow for now. Let's just look for some random trend lines here. Can we see some kind of a wedge? I mean, right now, maybe this is a bit of a fake out of this wedge. You know, I think this is support that's worth watching. Let me just adjust this a little bit. Like I said, I really like to see 3 touch points on a trend line before it breaks. Just really getting picky here. I really like my wicks to line up perfectly. So yeah, we got our 3 touch points here. That's a valid trend line in my opinion. And we haven't seen a close below that yet. Even if we do, something that wedges do like to do, and I know that we saw it, where were we? I think it's when we were way back here, we saw something like this happen, where you get a bit of a fake out first, and then from there, you end up just hammering through with momentum. So I think it was something like this. Actually, I think I had it even more. I want to say it was something like this I had mapped out way back here. And basically I was saying, you know, if we did end up dropping this wedge, to watch that if we reclaim it as support, if we drop that wedge and reclaim it and retest it as support again, and it was like pinpoint accurate, and from there we just blasted off with momentum. So that's another thing to watch for, you guys, is quite often the market will do the opposite. You'll get some kind of a fake out before getting the actual move. So even though we did break below this wedge, and you know what, this is actually a decent looking wedge, I would like to see a third touch point of resistance before a breakout. So, you know, I don't know how much validity I want to give this one yet. But as far as the support line, though, you know, we do have our 3 touch points there. So if we get some kind of a breakdown and again get back above and reclaim this line as support, I think that's where Bitcoin may actually gain a little bit of momentum, and we'll see a nice little swing to the upside. Even if it's not a swing, it would be a nice scalp in my opinion. If we see on a shorter time frame, we get back above this line, come back and retest it, I would be very interested in finding some kind of a scalp there, because I think you would quite possibly, quite realistically, get some kind of a bounce there. Even if it is short-lived, you take some profits and let some run and hope that it's another one of those plays where you hammer through the pattern with momentum. You could get into a very nice scalp turning into swing trade type of a setup there. So that's going to be a level I'm going to keep up as well. And another thing that typically happens is, you know, so we had this bullish falling wedge here and we broke to the upside, and even though we're just trading sideways, we never did break back down below the lows that we set here. I'm just going to make it a different color here. Let's go white. Since we broke out of this wedge here, we never did break back down below the low set here. So that's kind of our support right now on a horizontal level. And quite often what you see when wedges start breaking out is you'll see them break to the upside, but then you'll be able to draw out less aggressive wedges, and they'll just kind of keep breaking to the upside, forming what would just basically be some kind of a rounding bottom. You would just see a bunch of little wedges on the way, just tilting to the upside as you go. So, I mean, that's another reason to kind of watch out for this right now. But just taking a look at longer time frames. I am going to take a look at the weekly here. I've had this box mapped out for quite a while here. We are still technically holding this box as support rather than just getting a harsh rejection from this level. And that's something I've talked about quite often too, right? Is that, you know, we did have this very serious support level back at this side of the market cycle. And coming back up to that old support in typical market analysis and just basic structure, it would not be too uncommon to see support flip into resistance. So the fact that we're at such a serious old level of support, potential resistance now, that isn't something I want to take too lightly. So yeah, I absolutely see the possibility that we are topping out and we are coming to... I don't think that we're going to set new lows. I personally think the bottom has been in for Bitcoin for quite a while, ever since back with, what was that, that exchange, FTX, with that whole collapse here. I think that was the capitulation of this market cycle, and I think that was the bottom. But I'm totally open to the idea of just having a bit of a pullback. But something that is interesting about this, though, is we're not seeing that harsh rejection from such, especially that, you guys know, bulls take the stairs, bears jump out the window or jump down or take the elevator, whatever you want to say. Typically bears like to pull the trigger very quickly and aggressively. The fact that we're at such a serious level of resistance, we've already got one rejection there with a very minor pullback. And then now we're just getting a very, very slow pullback and staying inside this box. And even having our last weekly candle actually closing green here. I think this weekly candle is going to tell us a lot. I think if we get a red close below this box, that I think, you know, maybe we start testing some of these lows back here. Getting closer to that $25,000 level even. But if we can start gaining a little momentum here, I mean, it's totally normal to be pulling back into a weekly candle, to see us pulling back towards the lows of last week. I think that absolutely makes sense. And as it stands, we're just getting a very, very slow pullback here. So I don't think it's anything all too scary yet. But again, we're going to have to see how that plays out. I personally don't really trade on that large of swings anyways. Generally speaking, I always have some exposure to the market, and yeah, I weigh out my holdings a little bit different over time. But as far as leverage trading goes, I mean, I'm more of a scalper trading on shorter time frames anyways. So yeah, with that, we should take a look at some shorter time frames, shouldn't we? Let's maybe hop over to the 1 hour for starters. Try and find some potential levels here. So let's turn off the indicators first. And let's just map out, well, a little bit of support here. Nice support box on the 1 hour. Again, this wedge, we're gonna have to kind of watch what happens with this. It looks like it's having a really hard time getting back above, so maybe that isn't actually a valid wedge. We'll have to see if we can get back into that support. Let's bring up the indicators, see what the MDX algos are saying. Yeah, I mean, like many time frames, a lot of resistance up ahead. We even have this recent supply zone basically all the way up to 29,260, 270, somewhere in there. But again, kind of mixed signals, right? Because this is a pretty bright green little demand zone here, and I think that could carry some weight too. So we're really at an interesting level in the market as far as the midterm goes here. We're really right at that support where our wedge broke out from. We got horizontal support, we got diagonal support not too far away. We got potential bullish patterns playing out. We have that potential shift on the 4 hour starting to be hinted at. So a lot of mixed signals right now. Let's dive in. What about the 5 minute? Let's see what the 5 minute's up to. And in the Bitcoin channel, you guys, I had mentioned that I was closing out most of my short. Basically, that's because I saw that we were testing this. We had our support here where we got this nice little wick. And then we got this, well, we broke that level, but it was, again, just a wick. I can even zoom right into the 1 minute. Not even a 1 minute candle closed below that. So at that point, I had decided that, you know, I was going to take most of my short off the table. My short is in from this blue dotted line up here. That's one of my favorite strategies that I've talked about on this channel, or definitely talk about it in the Bitcoin channel all the time, is finding these reversal warnings along the 1 hour trend. And here you can see that we were just starting to test that 1 hour trend. Got a reversal warning. I figured pull the trigger. Could have a tight stop loss just above this supply zone, basically. Nice tight stop loss within like $30, and got a beautiful move to the downside out of that. So that's why I took that short earlier. But again, just since we had this little bounce here, this little failed break on the 1 minute, just in case I wanted to take a bunch of profits. And I did actually enter a bit of a hedge long, which I had mentioned just before the stream. Basically, since we got that reaction at that same level, and we got these this higher low W. The W's, this is one of the times where they're not lining up. We don't have a higher high W showing yet. So, I mean, this is early to say that, like, this isn't exactly my other strategy with the trending W's. It's just a bit of an early warning sign, a little bit of confluence to go with this potential double bottom here. So there's a chance that it doesn't play out. And in that case, if this hedge long gets, it's a smaller position anyways, but if the hedge long does get stopped out, then the short that I'm already in, I still have 20% of that running, and then I'll just gain more profits there. So the hedge long is just to basically, if we do end up reversing here, then I can take more profits without closing my short, kind of a thing. How's everyone else feeling about the market? I've seen 28.5, 28.7. I actually want to look at those on the 4 hour just to see where those are at. 28.5. Yeah, I mean, very close to. Yeah, that would be that double bottom, I guess, right before we broke out. So looking for a failed break along that level, I absolutely agree. I think that could be a beautiful bottom. All the way to 28.7. So, yeah, you know what? I can agree with that. You're kind of watching this type of an area. Yeah, there could be some good support there. Like I said, I think support could potentially be even just a little bit lower because of this longer upward sloping trend line. Like I said, I really like to use exact wicks. So if we were to come back down to that kind of a trend line, I mean, we could be going all the way down towards like 28.2, 28.3, somewhere in there. But we're going to have to see what happens there. Having a really hard time gaining momentum here. Honestly, at this point, I'd rather my short just keep playing out anyways. But, nice tight stop loss there on a long attempt if a guy wanted to try and scalp that. Very tight. With that short, oh, yeah, my hedge long got stopped out. So my short is just going to carry on going. I'm also going to update the stop loss on the rest of my short up to just kind of above 29K, just above this resistance up here. Actually, you know what? I could drop this now because we had a change in structure again. To show you what I mean here. This green line here, obviously we had a low, we had a lower low, actually had a lower low again, and now another lower low. So technically, I mean, I'm going to set this one a little bit higher. I'm going to have my stop loss just above this red line on the rest of my short. But even as far as our current lower high, we're more looking at this yellow line. Because we have this low here, we have a lower low here now. This yellow line would be the lower high of this today's trend. So from a bullish perspective, we need to get above that. But quite often when things reverse, you'll end up seeing, as you update where your lower high is, quite often you'll get some kind of a structure where it does actually set up for a nice tight stop loss if you look at for that kind of a reversal, just a very micro change in structure. So we're just going to watch it and kind of see what happens with that. Basically, I'll just keep chasing the price with a yellow range here. But yeah, like I said, I am going to update the stop loss on my short from earlier, basically just right above 29K. Another potential setup that I want to watch for from the short side of things would be if we do get some kind of a bounce and get a reversal warning near the 5-minute trend even. Obviously, I prefer the 1 hour trend. It carries a lot more weight, but we're quite a ways away from that right now. Basically, reversal warnings along either of these trends that I use on the MDX Algo 3 That's one of my favorite trading strategies. That, as well as which way the W's are trending, those are my two absolute favorite trading strategies. But I mean, as you can tell, you can get such a nice tight stop loss, right? Like I said, my stop loss was within $30. I was able to enter a 69x like a true degen. So I'm sitting in 100% profit right now on this position. Oh, 106%. Whereas I would have lost about 8% if I was wrong on that position. So pretty good risk reward. Nice tight stop on that kind of a thing. I really love entering along those. Right now, honestly, the way I've been trading this over this week, I guess, is just kind of what side of the 1 hour trend we're on. I'm kind of favoring that side of scalps, specifically when I can have the W's trending in the same direction that the 1 hour EMA shows. And just in case anybody is unaware of what my settings are, I can show you. My trend one, this would be this guy, the closer one, is the 5-minute volume weighted moving average. And the other one that I took the short off of earlier is the 1 hour EMA. And there's no magical number that's going to work out every time or anything like that. Those are just two that I've been using for almost a year now, or however long I've been using since we've had those trends. I don't think there's any magical number. It's just kind of whatever helps catch your eye, right? And what I really like is the reversal warnings kind of showing up along those trends. One of my favorite things to do. We also have this resistance cloud here. I mean, we could definitely just end up taking a little bounce. I would actually, if we do get a reversal warning along one of these trends, I guess this is the only one that we would during my stream. But if we get a reversal warning along this, I would definitely be looking to add to my short position, I think. Yeah, I would do it in this stream. If for nothing else, for entertainment value for you guys. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see if we even get that. As it stands right now, this is kind of the channel we're watching. Just to prepare, because the 1 minute does move very fast. And guys, I totally understand trading the 1 minute is not for everybody. I do it because it's, like I said earlier, it's easier to show you guys kind of strategies that I like to use in the charts. My strategies work on other time frames as well. Like, it's just easiest on the 1 minute. Charts generally play out the same no matter what time frame you're on. The weekly, the 5 minute, the 1 minute, the 4 hour, they all look the same type of chart structure. Yeah, obviously on the 1 minute like this, it can lead to over leveraging, over trading, all those degen behaviors that we shouldn't do as traders. But one thing that I like to do when I am trading the 1 minute is just kind of staying a step ahead. So what we're going to do right now, because you have to enter a position very quickly. Like, realistically, in a minute, you could very easily lose your entry on these types of setups. So right now, I am kind of just waiting to see if we do end up breaking this low here, then we'll have a new lower high, right? Because currently, this is our lower low, or this is our low, lower low. This is the highest point between the two. But now, if we end up dropping this, set another lower low, then this would be our new lower high. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me know if I'm unclear about anything, obviously. I don't want to leave that there yet, because I don't want to accidentally think we've changed structure if we get a close above that, because We actually wouldn't be breaking the confirmed lower high until this level. This could a lot of people might consider this a lower high. I just don't consider it a confirmed lower high until we actually end up breaking below. There's the chance that, I really like to make support boxes rather than lines, and I like to use the entire wick of kind of where the local bottom is, or top, depending which way we're playing. So that's kind of the area I'd be looking for a double bottom. So I mean, technically you could have a really tight stop loss short again or long again, but I don't know. That's definitely playing against the trend. Just as far as risk reward, it could be a nice little double bottom there, but again, chances, I guess the odds are against it, I would say, but the reward could far outweigh the loss, kind of a thing. What are the other indicators saying? The 1 minute is showing some bullish divergences. Some nice bright green dots here. The oscillator 4 up here as well does have that. Let's see if we can find any other wedges while we're here kind of watching. Here could be our second touch point. No, that looks weird. Not seeing a clear support line yet. Either way, if we're looking for a bullish play, I would be looking for a third touch on resistance. So I don't really consider this trend line valid yet because we only have our 2 touch points. But if we get a third, something like that with a little pullback, I'd consider it a valid trend line. So then if we can get above it, get some kind of a retest, that could be a good long entry as well. All things, just like I said, preparing ahead of time because it's the 1 minute. You don't want something to catch your eye and be like, oh, I should get into this. You want to be ready for it. Basically, when I'm trading the 1 minute, if there's something that looks like it's about to happen, I always set alerts on important trend lines just to catch my attention from whatever I'm doing. But basically, if I have a feeling I'm going to be entering a position in the next couple minutes, I basically have an order ready in my phone so that I can just basically like, yeah, there's the close I wanted, boom, enter into a position a second or two later. Just because, again, the 1 minute can change very rapidly. Let me know if you guys want me to check out other time frames, other coins, anything like that. I just really like watching the 1 minute because it's fun to kind of watch these, especially with the indicators. It's fun to just kind of watch these strategies play out in real time, and then hopefully, I'm hoping that some things are registering with you guys, and you're picking up little tips and tricks, or even if it's not what I'm doing, but just something I say makes you think of something differently, and it's helpful. That would be awesome. Bottom trend line there. What time frame are you on there, Pete? The 1 minute? Should I be... Oh, I think... Yeah. I see what you're looking at now. I just have to zoom out. Classic Stu, being way too zoomed in on a degen chart.
Peter Neumann. Oh, ja. Das freut mich ja nicht, dass er die Karte verloren hat, aber dass er
Oh, Pete,
angetrunken
we
ist.
you got your mic on. Just a heads up.
Ja.
Actually, yeah, I see the wedge. That's the wedge you're talking about. Hey, that is a nice one, actually. I guess all the more reason why that could have been a nice double bottom. Nice catch. Again, I would still like to see a third touch point of this, something like that. That would be nice to see, but yeah, there's a potential wedge there. I'm still not going to swing it along. I am definitely more interested right now in adding to my short if I get the position or get the opportunity. I'm actually going to remove my drawings and let's bring up the trade setup feature. Let's just see what the indicator is saying here. I wonder if it's been nailing the 1 minute today or not. I assume it's in a short right now, or it'll say short. Yeah. Nailed the 3 take profits on that one, eh? Let's zoom out a little. See what some other time frames are saying on that. Even the 5 minute, that's a huge drop it's calling for in the 5 minute. If we hit a TP3, whew, my position would be looking pretty nice if I held it that long. Yeah, the 1 minute's still looking weak, you know, from especially if that was going to be a strong wedge. The fact that it's still having a hard time, this cloud's still holding it down. We have a potential top here, potential top here. This reversal warning off of that important support level, not really doing much. It's looking pretty weak. But I mean, that being said, support always does look weak until it actually bounces, right? I mean, generally speaking, as you trade into support, everyone's going to get bearish. As you trade into resistance, everyone's going to get bullish. That's just the way it works. But yeah, taking along, definitely fighting the trend at this point. Unless you wait for... yeah, we're going to have to see. If I'm hoping that we can see during this stream, even in the next half hour or so, if we could see a break in structure and see how well it reacts. I'll probably close another remaining half of my short even if we just kind of get some kind of a structure break, like an actual break with candle closes and whatnot. But as it stands right now, I think it's... I would like to see us get up here. I better get my lines back up here. This is our current lower high. This is the one that I think will have a little more meat to it. And here would be our range low. Yeah, that wedge, it's like you said, it's definitely nearing the apex. That's the word, right? That's the word I'm looking for. Oh. Just to give it a different color, let's go blue. Something like that. Yeah. I mean, we're going to have to see what happens here. I do see reasons for swinging at a long here. I'm just not going to because I already got burned on trying to hedge long. And I'm just gonna stick with my short for now. But again, tight stop loss, but you are fighting the trend if you were trying to play along right now, right? Looks like it'll be the lowest 4 hour close since June 23rd. Yes. You know what though? I honestly don't get too bearish on something like that because it is still just closing in within this support. Like quite often, the way I look at double bottoms is one of my favorite things. Is like I said, I do support boxes and generally kind of where the range had bottomed out. So that would be from this body back here down to here. As long as we're still closing candles in this box, I'm not too bearish. It's if we end up closing a candle below this wick back here. That's where I would start to think that we're going to take a little bit more, a deeper plunge, I guess you could say. Oh, August. Or wait, August 1st. Is that the candle you're talking about for the lowest candle close? Yeah, either way. Like if we get a deep red candle close in here, but then we start closing green candles in here, I'd actually start looking at it as confirming support rather than getting too bearish just because this candle is closing lower than other candle bodies. It's still closing within the wicks. So yeah, it's looking weak, but I'm not gonna not gonna fade. That's what all the kids are saying these days. Hey, not gonna fade the support. Prop C is one that I've been talking about. Random altcoin there. I know MDX has talked about it a few times. Does look a little bit weak. I did sell some of mine. I've basically I play my altcoins a little bit different. My spot bags. I try to basically sell them and buy them back cheaper so that I can just coin accumulate for free. And that's basically how I learned how to trade, honestly, is I wasn't trading with leverage when I started trading. I was spot trading and I was just coin collecting. It helped me keep the emotional money side of things out of my trading. And I was just able to look at it as just tokens, whatever, didn't care what they were worth or anything. I just started with a small amount and did that. That's still kind of how I treat my spot bags. So I did, where was it? I think it was on the 5 minute. I ended up selling a chunk of mine looking to buy it back. I think it was back when we flipped bearish again here on the 5 minute, flipped bearish of the 1 hour trend there. So I'm just looking to buy back, but I do see potential for it to go a little bit lower. So I want to see how that goes. But that's an altcoin that I've been paying attention to a lot lately. 28.7. We are getting right back to that support of that wedge. Even retested it again pretty much. That's definitely a line of interest. That being said, we did technically set a lower low. It is just a week, or just a wick rather. Don't know how much credit I want to give that, but let's drop that to be our new lower high. I'd prefer this to actually be candle bodies closing below. I might be a little premature in dropping that down, but Yeah, this is just looking more and more like a falling wedge. I'll give it that. But like I said, we might still drop it just because patterns love to do that where you get your little fake out. Get more something like that. If we do end up dropping and getting back inside this wedge, now that it's touched like 3 or 4 times, I'd probably actually, I'll end up closing, like I said, half my position or whatever, half my remaining position. But for now, she's going to run. Even right now, you can see the pause right at that trend line, hey? So even if it doesn't hold, it's obviously a level of interest. What are the other indicators saying? Bullish divergence on the oscillator 4. One thing I don't like about the oscillator 5 is the money flow is still red, but I mean that could flip soon. Oh, that thing is a beast. Just the dead stop there, hey? I wonder if there's no trading happening or if there's a massive buy wall there. Yeah, like I was saying earlier about the 3 touch points is I would feel better about this wedge for getting a bullish break of it if we did get a 3rd touch point before breaking it. I find quite often when we just blast through on the 3rd attempt, we just find the next little bit of structure and then get shut right back down. See something like that. There's our little push below. Will we reclaim it? It's really trying. So this is one of those times I am going to get ready to close half of my remaining short. I'm not setting that order yet, but I'm going to have it ready. Yeah, you know what? I am closing half my remaining short right now. At 117% on that guy. Like I said, very small amount left. I would have what would I have left? Like 10% of my position still open. I think now might actually be the time to hedge along. If we can get back down a little bit lower, I might swing at another hedge long here. Might even ladder one in, just in case this has some momentum. I am gonna hedge a little bit of a long here. Basically, I have it split into a few orders. I just entered a little chunk. I am going to add more if we end up retesting the support here. And I'm also going to add a little bit more if we end up dropping down here. So just not to confuse the two, I am laddering in a position, dividing it up by 3. I'm not tripling down on my position. I have chosen a position size and I added some here, another third here, and another third here, not the opposite way around. I just want to make that clear. Just in hopes of, you know what, even if I'm wrong then and I do just get stopped out again right away, then at least my average entry was closer to the support of this pattern here. So just to reduce my risk a little bit, right? Um, 642. I still think we're fighting the trend, but the fact that we got that little fake out and it was such an obvious wedge there, and that we could watch it being reacted with in real time there, yeah, I just have to take a swing at that. Better have an order 701. And actually, as far as structure goes, another thing to go with this is that we did technically break that low. So we set a lower low, and that would have dropped our lower high to here. This is really micro analyzing, guys. But technically speaking, this would have been our lower high. So we did get a close above that now. So even though we might pull back like this, technically, as long as we don't lose this support, that would invalidate it. If you wanted to be a little safer, you would wait until we get a close above this as well, just so that we set a high, set a higher high, something like that. Where are you looking at there? You're looking up, or you're looking at the same level as me, I think. I can't see your numbers. Oh, you're talking more. You're thinking something like this, hey, Pete? Actually, something that I'm interested in looking at. Yep, I agree with you. I love that 786 to 886 pocket. So if we got up there, I'd actually be looking at closing most of my long. If we get up there. Still, like, even for the size of wedge this is, like, we're still just getting kind of a weak reaction. But it is respecting it, though. This is just the stealth mode before exploding to the upside. Hey, let's hope so. Yeah, that's your best bet, right? Be ready for anything because no matter how certain you are, nothing is guaranteed. So, I mean, basically the way I tell my friends with trading and whatnot is like just prepare for the worst. What happens if you're wrong? Always be ready for being wrong because so many times people don't use stop losses and stuff because, oh no, I'm confident in this. Things like that. And it's just like, oh, but you can be wrong. No matter how sure something looks, something can go wrong. And or in your case, like having dry powder ready, just for ready. If we end up dropping down a bunch, then you're ready to spot buy, right? Well, the Algo did figure along. Um, I I personally usually don't use the trade up setup feature. Sometimes I will use it. I usually choose my own entry and my own stop loss. I love using the take profits. Um, but I find that generally, especially on shorter time frames like what I use, like if I'm trading the 1 minute, I find quite often the stop is just a little bit too tight. But generally speaking, I like to find my own entries as well. Something that's nice that you can do though is you can find some of those really good. Like I was saying earlier, that yeah, there's some setups that probably don't have the best odds, but they have like the amount of loss you would take versus if it's correct. This is kind of one of those situations, right? Quite often you'll see the price get real close to the stop loss of this indicator or this feature of the indicator, and then you can have such a tight stop loss. Whereas if it is correct and it reaches all three take profits, I mean, you're not looking at a 1 to 3 risk reward or 3 to 1 risk reward anymore. You're looking at more like 1 to 12, 1 to 10, something like that. So that's one way that you could use this feature. I really wish there was a way to go back and back test this feature, but obviously your chart would be so cluttered with these signals that they could never do that with this indicator. It would just, I mean, I'm sure it would probably actually crash your charts, but it would be nice to be able to back test it. Unfortunately, you'd have to just, if you wanted to back test this, you would just have to actually watch it and keep a journal of it, basically. What else? What else? What else? Oh, stock poker. Those given numbers by MDX3 are too mechanical. They don't consider averages, trend lines, or whatever in a consideration. I think quite often these entries on this feature is actually chosen kind of how I was talking about the chart structure. How like when you let's say break low or high, for example, I think that's where it ends up taking an entry. Um, so I think it's based more on that, and then just since you do have it set to a 3 to 1 or whatever it is in the settings, I think. Well, you can change it too, right? You can change your risk, trade setup risk. Yeah, you can. If you up the risk here, it'll actually spread those numbers out as well. But yeah, just for the sake of keeping it 3 to 1 on the take profits to your stop loss, yeah, it is a little bit mechanical, and that's why, like I said, I usually choose a looser stop loss than what it would what it would be saying basically. That being said, if I again, let's just talk structure here for a second. We had this high here, and we technically broke it here, so this would have confirmed higher low on this very micro trend, obviously. So let's just see where that is. bring the indicator back up, and the stop is just below that. So technically, I do agree with the stop loss on this. I would still keep it a little looser personally, but the way it has this mapped out, I actually do agree with that. Not to say it has to play out on the 1 minute like this, but as far as structure goes, that is actually a good spot. But yeah, like you said, it is quite mechanical just how the math works on this feature, so that's where I do like to choose my own stops and whatnot. But it is such a good reminder to take profits. It's so easy to get wrapped up in the whole I am not taking profits, this is a home run trade. This really helps keep your mind in check. Yeah, this is still just looking so weak though. Like the red cloud, the potential top here. The oscillator 5 is still, yeah, it's quite red. We still have red money flow. Oscillator 4 is kind of in no man's land right now. Honestly, even the 5, it's kind of in no man's land, other than just looking at the money flow, not being super bullish there. Hey, Stock Poker, if you can hear me, you'd be proud. I'm in a short for once. From up here. Took the reversal warning off the 1 hour trend. I figured, you know what? Fine, I'll play a short. What is my exact entry since I accidentally deleted everything here? 219.1. Hedge long, not looking as good. Let's see if that was actually a structure break. Let's see where we'll pull back to. I'm actually going to remove my order from this line here, just to even tighten up my risk a little bit more. I'm going to save my other entries for the 786 and 886 fibs, just in case, you know, since we did break this little structure here, maybe we do pull back into that favorite Fibonacci pocket of mine. And if not, then I just have a lower average entry on my hedge long anyways. And then it's just a smaller loss, obviously. So let's say 28685. And 670. So I'm not sure if we'll drop to that Fibonacci pocket, but quite often after we do a structure break, we do get that pullback to, even if it's sometimes a double bottom, even a little failed break. But quite often we'll see that 786, 886 fibs. So I will delete the actual fibs just to clean things up a little bit. I'm also going to get rid of that trade setup feature. Just again, I just want to clean things up a little bit. Something that I usually wait for now when I'm entering scalps is the change in direction in the W's. Like quite often what you'll see is, let's say, okay, we set a low here, we'll kind of go up, set a W, come back, set a higher W, pull back, and then see a higher W from this side. That's really where I like to start looking at scalps long. But just since we had this perfect looking wedge and how well it was being respected there for a bit, that's the only reason I'm entering this hedge long. Like I was saying, that most of this week I've just been kind of typically, other than during this stream, I've been trading whichever side of the 1 hour trend we're on. So recently I've actually been favoring the short side for the last few days, which is weird for me. Obviously, most of you guys know that. Yeah, stock poker, I agree with you. I'm actually favoring the short side. But this is just a hedge long with a tight stop loss I'm looking at. But I would be more into the idea of adding to my short if we get some kind of a retrace. Yeah, the long guy. See that 786 886? Let's see it. Or just that same support trend line. Hey, that's a perfect retest again. Well, there's no doubt about it. I said it before, I'll say it again. It's definitely a level of interest, but well, there is got my 786 entry. Interesting. Trying to, oh, that would be a higher W if it closes higher there. This W isn't valid until the candle close. I don't like that it's broke this support twice of this wedge, but whatever. It is what it is. Likes that 786. It's crazy how well those fibs are respected. Well, that was a good move changing my entry, even though, like, with how volatile these markets are. I mean, that was a very small change in my entry price. But that 786, man, is that respected well. And like I said, the 886 as well. I'm actually surprised we never hit them both. Maybe we will. I guess it's a little early to say that it won't happen. I do like that we have the W's trending to the upside again on the bottom. However, obviously we don't have the top ones agreeing yet. So it's more of just an early warning sign more than anything. I would take this alone as far as the W strategy goes. That's more where I'm interested in taking a little more profits in a short. Like, obviously, I was with you guys. I told you guys I was taking more profits earlier, but if I hadn't, this would have been that signal to take more profits on a short there. Um, 618. You would be talking about pulling from up here, I believe. And you're talking about this 618 here, at 28,850. Oh, from the top of the wedge. Or something like that is what you're talking. Hey, you know, that would give a chance for the 1 hour EMA trend to catch up to the price, catch up to the 786 or the 886. Did you pull it the same way? You pulled top to bottom, right? Yeah. Yeah, we could definitely target some of these higher fibs. Get a break out of this wedge, end up hitting the 618, or like I said, my favorite fibs are actually a little bit beyond the 618. I find the 786, 886 get respected more. That being said, let's map out some potential resistance there. Few resistance levels I'm watching. There's no way around it. Just Bitcoin has a lot of resistance up ahead. Not to say it can't smash through it, but it does. That's all there is to it. Yeah, that would be where I set the fib from that time. Well, so far so good. Scared of holding along right now. I'm tempted to close my scalp already. What even was my entry? I guess I should get that on here. 714 is the average entry there. It will smash the short shorties and only keep the long longies alive. I like it. Won't hear me complaining if this takes off. Yeah, the short shorties and the long longies on the scalpy scalps. Let's really degen it up here. Come on, what kind of a fib can we pull on this swing? Oh, look at that. We just missed the 786. Yeah. Yes, sir, they will. Oh, come on, Asia. Do something cool. One way or the other. Let's just see one of my positions take off here. Come on. Kind of want to go outside for a little bit. It's nice out again, so I wanted to hang out on the deck and go eat supper and whatnot. But I'll give this a few minutes and see what we got going on here before I commit to leaving. I don't know why it doesn't just go straight up. That's weird. Should just go like that. Oh, right, there is that FUD in China, hey? They're begging funds and stuff to not sell their assets because the market's in such shambles. Yeah, that's always good confidence to give those investors. Hey, by the way, please don't sell on us. That won't cause everyone to try and sell first or anything. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely that, and that could definitely end up holding Bitcoin down as well if there's anything behind that. I tend not to follow fundamentals too closely, as you guys know. I just think that there's too many factors that we may not understand, and it's easy to misanalyze fundamentals just like it is charts. So I like to just misanalyze one thing rather than both. And I mean, really, the only thing is like playing the news is, yeah, one way. If you do happen to play it right, you can get an early edge on the market, but the charts are still going to change structure, and you're still gonna see all that play out. Yeah, you won't get the perfect reversal, but I mean, markets only reverse once. They can trend. You can have continuation patterns over and over and over and over until they don't anymore. So yeah, maybe you miss the first little bit where the market breaks structure, but you can always still get in on it after. So that's where I don't really like to take news all too serious. The charts will tell the story. Whether the news is actually going to affect prices or not, the charts will tell you. There's been too many times where I've got overly bullish, specifically in my earlier days of trading, where I would get wrecked repeatedly because things were happening in the economy that I never understood at all. And I would look at charts one way and I'd be like, oh, but that doesn't make sense. No, it's not going to keep going down because this partnership happened or whatever. And then it would just keep tanking. And, I've been through that too many times to give much weight to the news now. I just find there's always a way to twist it that, like, oh, this happened and this is going to be bad for the markets. Oh, the markets did really good because this happened. Yeah, I could agree with that, stock. I would still want to see how those levels are being reacted with, because if all of a sudden we start trending higher W's on the 4 hour from both sides, I will actually get quite bullish, and I will think that maybe, um, let's just pull up the 4 hour again here. Yeah, basically, if we see these W's start to trend higher and we just set like another higher W here, for example, in that case, I will be getting quite bullish. But I mean, so far we're just setting lower highs. There's no arguing that. Lower, 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 lower. So I mean, yeah, I gotta say it doesn't look great. We have this big red cloud forming too, and obviously just a shit ton of resistance up above us. Obviously, one big green dildo could change all of that, but as it stands right now, I mean, there's no doubt about it. We're just at some very serious resistance. But I just don't like setting blind orders based off my analysis. I really like to wait for the failed breaks or the trend, the indicators saying something or whatever. But yeah, I would definitely be open to the idea of looking for shorts if we get some kind of a bounce. Like I said, right now I'm basically just playing whichever way the 1 hour trend is looking. Quite often you can get into, it can start as a scalp and you end up in a decent little swing, kind of like my trade today. So that'll be a strong confluence for whatever I decide. There was actually a few really good entries. I'm just gonna save this, remove all my drawings. Like I was talking about, one of my favorite strategies, those W's off the trends. Like I said, I entered my short up here because of that. We were testing the 1 hour trend, but really, anytime you got near it, like even this wouldn't have been a horrible entry by any means, depending what kind of a stop loss you're looking at, right? But even after this 1 hour trend, I mean, as soon as then all of a sudden we had the 5 minute also flip red, so we have them lining up with each other and then getting a W so close to the 5 minute like that while both trends are so close. Especially after just again, we had the W's trending to the downside. We had a W trending to the downside right by that moving average there. That was a very good sell signal, actually. And then not quite as good, but also a decent little entry would have been right there. Again, just getting real close to that 5 minute trend, getting that reversal warning. Beautiful short entry there. That's just, yeah, that's, like I said, that's one of my favorite strategies there. Combining the two like that is just great. Oh. Well, my hedge long is non-existent. My short's sitting really good though. My short is now at 140%. Again, I only have about 10% remaining, but there are millions of different fundamental events happening which you never hear about, and most of them will be represented in the chart before the public hears about them. Oh, exactly. Like you're never going to be one of the first with insider trading info. That is a fact. Oh, there we go. Yeah, and agree. The top side looks heavy and ready to roll over, but the bottom looks like it's rounding up. Exactly. It just looks really undecided when you look at those longer time frames. That's why I've been scalping lately. I am more of a scalper anyways, but really, like, I've been playing shorts, I've been playing longs. Like I said, I'm generally trying to keep it to whichever side of that 1 hour trend we're on, and that's why I am favoring heavier on the short side right now. But yeah, every day is basically going to be different. Every few hours could be different. I really don't have a strong bias on the mid to long term right now. Actually, long term, I have a strong bullish bias. Mid term is where I don't really have a bias right now. Yeah, breakout traders. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, Well, you can see as soon as that higher W never did hold and we dropped those levels, I mean, it was just game over for that play. So good decision having a tight stop loss below that. Even though I can't help but feel like we're going to get some kind of a bounce soon, I am considering taking a little more profits just because we're getting so overextended from our moving averages here. Like I said, yeah, I am tempted to take a little more. What should I do here? I am going to close a third of the remainder of my position. Well, I don't have much left in that position, but it's nice to have even if just a buffer. So now, if we do get that bounce back up, let's say we come right back up to, well, where we have this, I guess that would really be perfect. I mean, we could see a bounce up towards the top of this resistance cloud. We have this supply zone here as well. The 5-minute volume weighted moving average would have a chance to catch up to that. If we could get a bearish W along that kind of a retest close to this moving average, I will be adding to my short position again. But I'll be in such a safe position because my average entry, yeah, it'll change a lot, but I still won't take a loss on the position. So I would be confident adding to my short position if we do get a W close to one of those moving averages. It's just been, like I pointed out, I mean, it's been working out so well from the one that I took to the next one. Anytime we get those reversal warnings near the trend like that, it can be such a powerful signal. Oh, hopefully you guys can't hear that. I hear my neighbors using tools and shit. Close the window. Yeah, I think my mic's pretty good for getting rid of background noise, but, well, it was distracting me if nothing else. um, I am definitely not going to be looking to hedge along here anytime, just because, again, it's just not working betting against the trend right now. I'm more interested in adding to my short rather than anything. I mean, there is some potential oversold things showing up in the chart. We have these bright green candles. We've just been selling for all afternoon here, or for the last, 5 or 6 hours, something like that. We do have this bullish pivot on the oscillator 5. We're starting to get near the bottom of the oscillator 5. Or did I say 5 up here? I meant 4 up here. Oscillator 5 down here, flipping green. Like I said, bright green candles, but that's just not enough for me at this point. I think we're trying to fight the trend too hard. And like I said, I'm more interested to find those reversal warnings along the trends at this point. But is there anything else anyone wanted me to go over? Anything I was unclear about? Anything you want me to look at? Anything random? Mike, I have a Blue Yeti for a microphone. You just opened a long on your high leverage account. Well, we do have this potential top here. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I hope you had a stop loss or a small position size, either or. Yeah, as long as you have some kind of risk management. I mean, you're never gonna win every trade, anyways. It's how you deal with losses, right? As long as you have proper bankroll management, that's the most important thing you can do. Yeah, those top signals can be nice too. They're just they're not very intrusive, which is why I keep them on my chart. Like I keep my charts very clean, obviously. Generally speaking, the W's are the only thing, well, and the trends and the cloud are pretty much the only things with these indicators. I mean, there's a ton of customization you can do, obviously. I keep mine very clean just because that's the way I like my charts. But yeah, these few signals that I have up still, I really like them. Yeah, I would say these triangles are printed a little bit small. They could be a little bit bigger. Actually, can I change that? I don't think. I think I can only change the color. Um, yellow's at least a little bit brighter. Let's do that. A little easier to spot. I like them small like that. Yeah, it was just with the blue they were hard to see. I kind of like them now though. Starting to see all the indicators starting to get pretty bright and green. Like I showed this pivot point back here. We have the reversal warning here, bright green candles. Oscillator 5 still hasn't printed like a big green dot or anything, but any one of these candles very well could. And yeah, when all the indicators line up like that, that can be a very good sign. But like I said, I'm not interested in fighting this trend right now. 28.3, was that the line I was looking for? Oh, no way. Maybe I should be in a long. We're getting real close to that. We never quite tested it. Got very close, though. Might be just being front run a little bit. That was very close. Yeah, a little liquidity down there yet? Or did that just get hit? Not quite hit yet. Yeah. I'd feel better about getting some kind of a failed break along this line just because, like I said, I was really expecting a third touch point of this line. And yeah, it's absolutely possible it's getting front run. But I would more so like if we tested just below it. Just got kind of a wick. A little bit of a failed break. Let's actually check some fibs here. Let's say from this bigger swing. Right around the 0.5 fib for that swing. That's generally, I mean, yeah, it's a level that's respected quite often, but I wouldn't say it's typically a reversal fib. I'm honestly, I mean, it is a far ways away, and it definitely doesn't have to happen. But part of me really thinks we're gonna come back down to this 786, 886. Like I was talking about that potential falling wedge earlier, or rather, rising wedge. If we end up breaking below that wedge, I think it makes a lot of sense that we would end up testing that 786, 886 fib. Because I'll just keep that box there. But even as far as looking at this little swing here, that falling wedge that we had, obviously we had this low, lower low, lower high. That actually, like that would be a perfect flip of that resistance into support right at that 786, 886 fib pocket on a bigger swing like that. So yeah, it's absolutely possible that we see some of these lower levels. Where would that take us? Like, yeah, I think I was talking about that earlier, 25.5. Again, that could be a ways away, and that might not even happen. We obviously have to break this wedge before we really consider that, but it is something to keep on the radar for down the road. You opened a swing at, or long at 28,320. Ooh, nailed it. Yeah, it's really hard to say. Again, we're fighting the trend by playing along right now, but I shouldn't say we. I never took this long, but that was a beautiful entry. Even, I don't know, I'd consider changing my stop loss to break even just because I'm scared of working against this trend. But it totally depends. Are you looking for a swing or more of a scalp? If it's a scalp, I would definitely be considering having my stop loss at break even or even a small profit. So we do have this potential resistance. I mean, eventually the market's got to see a decent little bounce. So I feel like one is around the corner. Maybe that was a beautiful bottom, but I'm just really hesitant to be confident in a long right now. Is all. Oh, that liquidity was taken. Hey, back up we go. Yeah, very possible. I'm still more interested in adding to my short. But again, I'll be taking profits along the way or get stopped out in a small profit. We'll see. But I'm not ready to add to my short yet. At 320, that was a nice entry. Well done. Can we see a bigger wedge by chance? See where I can connect some dots here. Could be in a much bigger wedge, something like that. Not bigger than the rising wedge, but that could be the falling wedge inside the rising wedge. Again, I'd rather see a third touch point before the breakout. If we were to see something like that, maybe like something like that, but how do I interpret the MDX 5 on different time frames? Attaboy, Stock. Stock Poker, we're playing each other's games here today. Oh, sorry, Pete. Back to that. How do I interpret the MDX 5 on different time frames? 1 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute, 15. It really just depends what time frame I'm playing. Like, my main thing that I look for out of the MDX Oscillator 5 would be, one, the color of the money flow. I find very important. Other than that, I'm just looking for divergences and dots. So it depends what time frame I'm looking at entering on, I guess. I don't know if I'm giving you a clear answer. I'm just oh, they are all quite green. Yeah, I'm usually not flipping back and forth and looking at that all too much. Like, I generally I guess I look at structure first, indicators second, and which I prefer the MDX Algo 3 because it's in the structure of the chart as well. And then I kind of look at those for confluence. And then, yeah, it just really depends. Whatever time frame I'm like, that's not a bad idea to go and check other time frames. Obviously, if they're all lining up, that's obviously stronger confluence. But me personally, I'm usually like, hey, I see this on the 1 hour, let's say, and I'm zooming right into a 1 minute chart to enter my position. And that's when I'm starting to look for those indicators on the 1 minute, because that's where I'm actually taking my entry. So that's where I'm kind of zoomed into. Whatever I'm zoomed into, taking my entry, that's more where I look at the top and bottom indicators. Four hour right now, bullish. I don't know if I'd say it's bullish. The money flow is still very red. Last divergence we had was a regular bearish divergence right up here. Beautiful call. There's nothing too bullish forming on the MDX 5 yet on the 4 hour. It is starting to look like things are getting oversold. Like it's starting to get quite green. Same with the Oscillator 4 up here. Starting to see these green boxes showing up, bright green band here. But there's no like pivotal signal or anything like that yet. But yeah, as it stands, like we have to see where this 4 hour candle closes, but so far it's looking very possible that it could just be a failed break. Yeah, it's got 3 hours to go to make a decision, but it could absolutely be finding support here. Who knows? You got oh yeah, you're pointing out another smaller wedge, which would be you're looking at something like this. Yeah, that was a nice touch off that. Oh yeah, that butterfly stock poker was basically perfect. I know nobody else watching this later on my YouTube channel can see it, but yeah, mapped out a butterfly, lines up perfectly with this touch. I'm not into those complex patterns. I'm a simple man. I draw colorful shapes and I trade them. Yeah, even like looking at where the 1 hour candle is, there's definitely a level of interest there where we bottomed out back here. It's where this 1 hour candle is trying to find support to. And again, it's very early. This candle's only a couple minutes in, but you can tell it's a very obvious level of interest again. We are currently fighting with the 1 minute lower high perfectly. We had this low, lower low. This is the highest point between the two, so that is our lower high on this 1 minute trend. So anyone who did catch a long down here, if you are worried about it, I mean, yeah, it's a great place to take some partial profits. Could we just blast right through? Absolutely. You know, there's some bigger patterns that could be at play here, but just if you're on the cautious side, and depending how much leverage you're using and all that kind of stuff, that is our first resistance level. So something to consider. Especially if we end up, this is just very, very micro analyzing here, guys. But as far as just this little swing here, I know Stock Poker loves when I look at the 1 minute like this. Just this very micro swing. Obviously, this is our last high, higher low as far as this goes. So we close a 1 minute candle body below that. And then, yeah, I think it's absolutely possible we retest the lows here. Yeah, if you're ever unsure about taking profits or not, like generally speaking, if I have that feeling of should I take profits or let this ride, I'll usually just take a little bit of profits and then let the rest ride. Like right now, it's not looking weak by any means. It's just at a level of potential resistance because it is the lower high on the 1 minute. But yeah, just generally speaking, whenever I get that feeling of indecision, I just find that it never hurts to take a little profits. But that is our current range. The unfortunate part is if we do take out this low, and let's say we set a lower low, we don't actually tighten up this lower high at all because this would be the highest point between the two. But it's looking pretty good. I mean, it's looking like it wants to break that little trend. Obviously, there's a ton more resistance along the way, but it's a good first step. 1.42%. Nice, nice. Yeah, I'm not in this long with you guys, but I absolutely see reasons why it could do good. But like I said, I tried hedging two small longs, and you know what? I'm just doing better on the short position right now, anyways. So don't want to piss away all the profits from that one. Yeah, we broke above this level. That's good to see. So basically, the way I play this, if I was in a long on a 1 minute like this, just treating it like a scalp. Basically, at this point, we now have another higher high because we obviously broke this one. So now this would be our higher confirmed higher low as far as just this swing goes. So if we got even a 1 minute candle body close below this red line, that's where I would consider taking some profits or even closing my position, just because that may be running out of steam already. But again, that's just very much just a scalping mindset. That's just a rule I have if I'm trading the 1 minute, that you know, a break in structure like that, no matter how small, if I lose any confidence in a position, I want to start just reducing risk, right? So this is also, I want to point this out, and not like it works out anytime by or every time by any means, but I know a lot of people, when they don't want to get into a position because they feel like they missed it, right? And this is like right now, I'm kind of going that route, but I am already in a position. But a lot of times, like, oh, hey, I missed an entry down here. Now I want nothing to do with a long because I feel like I missed it. But that's where playing, like, if you're in a trending market, that's where this basic structure comes into play, right? Like, every time we create a new higher high, you now have a new higher low to set a stop loss. If you just want a good reference point for a stop loss, yes, absolutely, it can break. They don't have to hold, but that's just a way that you can get into a nice tight stop kind of an entry. Even when you're too late. Again, that's best if it's going to turn into a trending kind of a play, or if the market is already trending. That's just a good way to get into an entry a little bit late and still have reduced risk. Obviously, don't have your stop loss then. Like, let's say I was entering on that kind of a position, then at least my stop loss wouldn't be way down here, right? It would just be kind of like more something like here, much more manageable on the risk side. Oh, nice. That worked out. Waking up at 4 a.m. You sound like me, just waking up in the middle of the night and looking at charts. My sleep habits are terrible. So speaking of that, now I'm just going to start chasing the trend with higher lows as they come. So now obviously if we get above this level, before we get below this level, then wherever this bottoms out would be our new confirmed higher low. But that's jumping ahead a little bit. Yeah, exactly. Well, like I showed earlier in this video, that if there's an important trend line I'm watching, I just throw on my alert to go every single minute, and I don't care if it's the middle of the night. If it's an important level I'm watching, I want my phone to let me know. Girlfriend doesn't always appreciate that, but I just get up and go to a different room and do what I have to do. But yeah, guys, I think I should get uploading this video just because we've been going for a little while. It's going to take quite a while to upload here. Is there any last minute requests or anything? Anything I was unclear about? Do I think that this V shape from my green line will fall back to my green line? Um, I guess that depends what happens with this trend. If we just keep confirming higher highs and higher lows, then, I mean, obviously the trend will carry on until it doesn't. But let's say we get a close below this line now, then I think absolutely there's a good possibility that we come back down. Maybe not all the way back to the green line. Again, those levels that I like to watch, I do like watching for the 786, 886. Quite often, if it's going to be like a nice bullish market in this case, you get this structure break that we got. Very minor one, but whatever. Technically, we got those candle bodies closing above that level. So quite often what happens is you will see a bit of a pullback if you end up breaking this trend anyways, that you end up coming back to that Fibonacci pocket that I like so much. So definitely a possibility. But I wouldn't consider that until obviously we close below this yellow line. And that will move with the price, right? As I just said, if we end up breaking this high here, then that means this line would actually move up to here. That would be our new higher low. It's not yet, because we haven't broke that level. Or even right now, like same thing, looking for a scalp, just playing the trend. If it is going to be a trending market, you could be in a long from here and just having your stop loss, basically a little wiggle room below that yellow line. Yes, there's absolutely a possibility that it gets hit, but just as far as getting into a position late, it's a way to keep a nice tight stop loss at least. Yeah, there is a lot of longs. Um, yeah, 75 or 70.52% Binance retail is long. Bybit's a little more balanced. Bybit and Binance top traders are a little more balanced, but yeah, that retail long from Binance, that is high. I would say there's definitely fuel to push the market to the downside again. Doesn't have to happen, and it doesn't have to happen right now either. That's always something to consider. If you're looking at, let's say, a 1 minute chart, and trading with high leverage, I mean, I'm not going to be trading based on this, right? But it's definitely something to consider in at least understanding that there is fuel there to push the market much lower. You're talking about the dashboard, like the long to short there, Pete? Still haven't figured out how to compare the MDX values with the high block ones to come to a consistent conclusion. Does MDX show the number of traders or the volume they create? That is an excellent question. I would say no. I'm sure it would be the number of traders. It wouldn't be the volume of orders, because if the volume was 70.5% long, I think we'd be moving up no matter what. I think I could be wrong on that. I hope I'm not giving you the wrong info. Don't take it for what it is. I think that would be like the number of traders. I've never used high block. I know nothing about it. This is just something I keep on the radar in the background. Just as far as, is there fuel to go the other way? Yeah, absolutely. There's fuel that we could still go get pushed down further. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, even if retail only creates 1% of the total volume of longs, or like the volume, yeah, the amount of buy orders, basically. Yeah, basically the big players are just, they're looking for the most people they can screw, right? So, yeah, you know what? That's actually a good question. Now I'm not too sure. I take it as fuel. I don't know how it's gauged. Oh, look at that. Getting gaps on the 1 minute. Yeah, I'm not sure how that's possible. Low volume, I guess, or just big orders, or a chart glitch. I don't know. I do see it from time to time. See it on altcoins a lot, but Bitcoin, it's not too common. Yeah, must just be a split fraction of a second that it does, that it jumps over, that it just creates it. Don't see it too often, but you do see it from time to time. Not for a while. Feel like I see one or two a day. Yeah, it could even be a data fault. It could be an error on TradingView. Who knows? Yeah, with altcoins it makes more sense because there's a lot um, lower trade volume. So let's say that, hey, this is where the candle closes, and then the first order is several minutes later, way up here, for example. There's going to be a big gap, but yeah, generally you don't see that too much on Bitcoin. Yeah, maybe it's on the exchange end too. Who knows? Could be a handful of reasons. Oh, we do have the money flow turned green again, I see. The hidden bullish divergence, a little green dot there. That's good to see. But you guys, I do think I'm going to get going. I should really go see if I can help out with making supper, if there's anything I can do. And if not, I should just get ready to start cleaning up and just carrying on with my day. We've been here for over 2 hours now, so... But thanks, guys, as always, for tuning in. I always have a blast sitting here and talking crypto with you guys. It's always fun. So hopefully you're pulling some useful info out of the things I'm yapping about. Because I appreciate, or I really like doing the streams. So yeah, hopefully you guys are still finding them entertaining and useful. And yeah, anybody not with us right now that sees this later on my YouTube channel, if you do want to be a part of these live discussions, there is a referral link down below that gets you the MDX Algo indicators that I'm always showing my strategies about, as well as gets you into MDX Crypto's VIP Discord group, where there's not just me, but there's a handful of coaches who do. We have live streams going on, coaching events every single day. And I've used these indicators for over a year now. They're the only indicators I use now. I absolutely love them. But honestly, I do think more than half the value is actually being a part of this community. Very active traders, very helpful community, nothing but positive vibes. So if that is something that interests you, there's a 15% discount down below with my referral link. Other than that, thank you so much for everybody for tuning in. Hopefully you appreciated this. If you did and you're watching this on my YouTube channel later, please do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't. And with that, I'm out. Stay safe, my friends. Peace.